Since the launch of Dragon Age the Veilguard, it really hasn't been selling too many copies, with some reports saying that it sold less than 1 million physical copies of it. And it isn't helped by the fact that gamers who have tried it out didn't really think too much of it. Critics seem to love it, but that's because it's pushing a lot of the same stuff that critics agree with. But they're ultimately not the ones who matter. It's the gamer who matters, and apparently gamers just don't like this game. But there are some people who are fans of it, and the people who are fans of it are pretty upset with the fact that most other people seem to disagree with them on this one. That's why we're getting to the subject of today's story, where apparently a Facebook fan group for Dragon Age the Veilguard has started banning people because they've been using the laughing emoji in posts on the game and things that they don't think are supposed to be funny. Dragon Age the Veilguard Facebook group bans laugh reacts to it. And this is just kind of a symptom of the overall problem of why this game failed. And I will get more on that in a little bit. But first, let's look at this article here from That Park Place. Admins for Dragon Age the Veilguard Facebook group have outlawed the laugh reaction and are actively banning members who use it. The entire gaming world is laughing at Dragon Age the Veilguard, from the game's cringe-inducing writing to cartoonish visuals to horrific sales numbers and cratering concurrent player count. The game has been the butt of many jokes. However, laughter in the Dragon Age the Veilguard Facebook group will get you booted and banned. And there's a screen grab right here from a post talking about this, where one of the admins for the Dragon Age the Veilguard Facebook group shared an image of their actual terms for that group, as well as the following post. Please remember that using laugh reactions on posts or comments that are not intended to be funny will lead to removal from this group, as we aim to maintain a positive atmosphere, admin Ezra Wren said to the group's 12,000 members. If your intention is to troll, promote negativity, or use reaction emojis as a weapon, we cannot guarantee that you will be allowed to stay. Feel free to laugh react to this too, so I can weed some of you out now. And like I was saying, this is ultimately the reason why Dragon Age the Veilguard failed so spectacularly, because there was rumors going around where the atmosphere over at BioWare circulating around this game was that of toxic positivity. And what that means is basically no one is allowed to say anything negative or question any of the decisions that they're doing for this game. If you can't say anything positive about it, then you're not allowed to say anything at all, which might sound like a good idea. But me personally, I'm one of those people who like being told what I need to hear versus what I might want to hear. I don't want to hear just positivity. If I'm doing something wrong, please tell me, leave a comment below and tell me if there is something negative that I'm doing right now. But when it comes to something like this, that this is just not a way to run a business or run a fan. I mean, maybe running a fan page, you can be like that. But I mean, if this game is failing, then you should be kind of examining, like, okay, what is it about this game that people don't like? And if you know the answer to that, then maybe that's why they're just banning anyone who's saying anything negative about it. But this is kind of what happened with the game behind the scenes. People were only allowed to say stuff positive about the game. So when the game finally released, BioWare was suddenly shocked that people didn't like it. And that's because you were only surrounding yourself with yes men out there who would only say positive stuff about the game, never actually questioning whether the decisions that they're making are something that real gamers actually want to have in their games. And come to find out, no, that's not the case. The post then quickly amassed thousands of laugh reactions. It's even listed in the group's official rules. In the rules, the mods go as far as to call people laugh reaction bigots. So here's what it says here. Laugh reacts will get you banned. We're not going to tolerate anyone laugh reacting to a personal post or something when it's not meant to be funny, and you're only laugh reacting because you're making fun of them or being a bigot. I do like how they just jump to this is bigotry if you laugh at what they're saying right there. They say you can't do it unless it's meant to be funny, but when it comes to stuff online, who's to say what's meant to be funny or not? Because there's a lot of times people are saying something, maybe they're serious, and I took it as sarcasm, because when you're looking at something through a post, you don't necessarily get the tone as if you're talking to someone. So maybe I would think like, oh, is that meant to be funny or not? When they're just posting screen grabs of dialogue options. There's that one video that was going around where a person in the game sits down at the table to like, hello, I'm non-binary. I would laugh about that, because I think that's funny, because it's just so ridiculous. You would never actually hear anyone talk like that, or at least no mentally well person would ever talk like that, but they include that in the game. I would think that that's supposed to be funny in certain contexts. I would probably laugh about that. And then if I hear that that's actually meant to be taken seriously, well, then I would laugh about that again, because that's just so ridiculous. So when you say that you can't laugh about something unless it's supposed to be funny, well, then I'm not able to infer the motive of the person who's posting it unless I know who that person is specifically and know whether they're actually doing it seriously or not. But I guess when it comes to this fan group, that it's pretty obvious where they stand on this type of issue. And that's why if you see something like that, you just assume that they're supposed to be taking it seriously. And at that point, you're not supposed to laugh outright. You're just supposed to laugh to yourself or whatever. I guess that's the case. But this is probably why they're going so far as to call people who are doing this sort of thing bigots, because the people who like this game, they don't like it because they like good games or even know what a good game is. They like it because this game affirms their identity, and that's not what video games are supposed to be. They're not there to just affirm your identity and tell you what you want to hear. They're supposed to be a fun game with an engaging story, interesting characters, but this is not what Dragon Age: The Veilguard offers people, and that's why it's failing. People like this only like it because it's saying what they want to hear, and when they can't hear what they want to hear, well, then they get mad about it and call the people like that bigots. But that's why you also get people like this defending it so hard, because to them, a rejection of this game is a rejection of their chosen identity, and that's something that they just can't handle. They don't like the idea that overwhelmingly people reject their personal views, and that's why they try to just build up their echo chamber so the only thing they hear is this toxic positivity. But that's not going to change the world. It's just going to make them feel better. But deep down inside, they know that people reject their ideology, and I think that's why they get so mad about it when something like this fails. The higher-ups at EA certainly weren't laughing in the wake of the game's release. The troubled title shipped 1 million copies to retail locations, and that's just shipping. That's not necessarily mean that they're actually selling those copies, but quickly garnered a massive return ratio. The game's trade-in value plummeted down to just $22 after 12 days. That means they shipped 1 million new copies to retail outlets. They sold some of those copies. People were bringing them back, and people were bringing them back in so much higher numbers that the value of it just went down to $22 for secondhand copies of it. And that's something that people were buying. So not a whole lot of copies of this game were actually being sold. And this is something that we've heard recently out of Ubisoft, where the executives over there were saying that for AAA releases, you probably need to sell around 10 million copies in order to just break even. And this is falling way short of that, because they shipped 1 million copies, even assuming that they actually sold 1 million copies. It's still significantly lower than what they actually need to in order to make money. I mean, this game is reportedly have lost hundreds of millions of dollars for BioWare because they were just not listening to actual gamers. They were just doing what some of the crazy people at the company wanted them to do. As of the writing, there's less than 16,000 concurrent players on Steam. The game failed to reach 90,000 players following its release, with an all-time high player count of 89,418. Veilguard also received only one nomination of this year's Game Awards, and it wasn't for one of the show's larger categories. The only award Dragon Age: The Veilguard got a nomination for was accessibility features, which elicited quite a few laugh reacts among the gaming community. No, the public Facebook group banning an emoji reaction is just the latest shot fired in the ongoing battle between the game's infinitesimal fan base and the gaming community at large. Many angry gamers were once BioWare fans looking forward to the new Dragon Age title for many years. And this is something that I was kind of surprised about, because I didn't expect this game to do fantastic or anything like that, but I did expect it to do significantly better than what they're currently at, because even though in the lead up to the release of this game, I was thinking like, okay, it looks like it's going to be terrible and it's going to fall into that pitfall of a lot of other games recently where they're just pandering to identity politics, and as a result, it's going to alienate a lot of people. But I still thought it was going to sell more copies than this, because it is still Dragon Age. It's still from BioWare. That's a major studio. This is a big IP that has a huge fan base to it. So I thought that was going to be enough to carry it. But come to find out, that's just not the case when it comes to Dragon Age: The Veilguard. And I think we're starting to see this within the AAA gaming sphere as a whole, where even major franchises like Dragon Age could still fail if they're just doing this same thing where they're not making a fun game. They're just treating it as a soapbox to push their own agenda. We have an upcoming title, Assassin's Creed Shadows, kind of doing the same thing. And before Dragon Age: The Veilguard came out, I thought maybe Assassin's Creed Shadows would probably still be successful, even though it looks terrible with the leaning heavy into identity politics side of it, but because it's an Assassin's Creed game, and I still think that that's probably going to sell better than this. But I think we're going to see pretty low sales numbers when compared to other Assassin's Creed titles because of their leaning into identity politics, similar to what we saw with Dragon Age the Veilguard here. I don't necessarily think that it's going to do less than what this one is, but I don't think it's going to be good for Ubisoft either. And Dragon Age Veilguard is just another example of get woke, go broke, or actually, I don't really like the get woke, go broke sort of thing. I think the company was already woke, so they're pushing this type of agenda, and this is, well, no, wait, what it is, I'm all over the place right now. I'm messing this one up right now. When a company isn't doing well or where they don't have good prospects, they're trying to expand their user base. So they think they need to get woke as a result of all that. And this is the result. So it's go broke, then you get woke. And this is what happens there. Hopefully that clarified everything on this, but let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Would you use the laugh emoji, or do you agree that people shouldn't be doing that on this one? Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news, make sure you click that subscribe button. And if you can, click the like button and share this video out there because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.